is your latest African news. Africa-wide, African leaders welcome Russia-Ukraine wheat deal. African leaders have welcomed a Ukraine-Russia deal that is set to unblock wheat and maize exports from Ukrainian ports. The African Union (AU) said the agreement was a welcome development for the continent on July 22nd, adding that grain shipments were urgently needed to avert famine. Macky Sall, chairman of the 55-member state continental body, said the deal was a response to Russia's visit in June, where AU officials stressed to Putin the urgency of returning cereals from Ukraine and Russia to world markets. Brokered by the UN and Turkey, the deal is the first major agreement involving Moscow and Kyiv since the conflict began in February. It aims to reduce grain prices and restore exports to countries currently gripped by food shortages. The agreement should make it possible to export between 20 to 25 million tons of grain stuck in Ukraine if successful. Chad opposition groups to take part in peace talks. Several Chadian political and rebel groups have decided to take part in peace talks in Qatar, reversing their previous position. Earlier this month, they pulled out after accusing Chad's military government of harassment and threats. Chad's interim president Mohamed Deby recently announced that a national dialogue would take place in August as the first step towards elections. The death of his father last year, the country's longtime leader Idris Deby, threw Chad into political turmoil. Mohamed Deby dismissed the government, dissolved parliament, and repealed the constitution, vowing to hold free and transparent elections in 18 months, a deadline that he said could be postponed once if certain conditions were not fulfilled. The rebel groups who withdrew on July 16th did so less than 24 hours after the younger Deby's administration announced that a national peace dialogue ahead of elections would start on August 20th. The rebels said that the new date had been set without any consultation, describing it as an attempt to exclude many of the armed groups and their political allies from the dialogue. Mali orders United Nations spokesperson to leave the country. On July 20, 2022, Malian authorities ordered Olivier Salgado, the spokesman of the United Nations peacekeeping mission, MINUSMA, to leave the country. The move follows the military government's suspension of the rotation of the United Nations military and police forces. The mandate of the UN mission in the country was renewed in June. The government announced that for national security reasons, all rotations of the military contingent and police contingent of MINUSMA were suspended. Earlier on June 10, 2022, Mali arrested 49 soldiers from Ivory Coast. MINUSMA said it believed that the troops were part of a unit that provided routine logistical support to the DR Congo military contingent. But the Mali government said the soldiers provided varying reasons for their presence in the country, including that they were carrying out a confidential mission and that they were protecting Germany's MINUSMA contingent. Côte d'Ivoire government has contested Mali's claims. Africa-wide, Wafcon 2022. South Africa beat Morocco to finally land their first title. The South African national team has been crowned Women's Africa Cup of Nations champions for the first time in its history, following a hard-fought 2-1 victory over host Morocco at Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium on Saturday, 23rd July. Playing in front of a crowd of over 45,000 supporters in Rabat, the South Africans upset their hosts thanks to a brace from South African-based striker Hilda Magaya. Having previously reached the finals of the competition on 4 occasions, the South Africans finally got their hands on the trophy at the 5th attempt. DR Congo. DR Congo warns of militarizing wildlife parks in Rwanda spat. A Congolese minister has warned he could propose militarizing wildlife parks in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo to protect them from rebels he says are supported by Rwanda. Tourism Minister Modero Nsimba accused Rwanda, which last week hosted an international conference on protected wildlife areas in Africa, of hypocrisy. The oldest national park in Africa, Virunga, is home to spectacular species of wildlife, including mountain gorillas. The 97-year-old haven extends across nearly 8,000 square kilometers, 3,000 square miles, including the border areas with Rwanda and Uganda. But it is also struggling with attacks by armed groups. The M23 sighted by Nsimba leapt to prominence when it briefly captured the eastern Congolese city of Goma in 2012 before it was driven out in a joint UN-Congolese offensive. After lying mostly dormant for years, the M23 resumed fighting last November after accusing the Congolese government of failing to honor an agreement to incorporate its fighters into the army. The Democratic Republic of Congo has repeatedly accused Rwanda of backing the M23, a charge its smaller neighbor has always denied. South Sudan. Concerns raised as South Sudan delays creation of Peace Accountability Court. South Sudan's peace monitoring body has expressed concerns over delays in creating a hybrid court, slowing the country's bid to look into past atrocities. The court is part of institutions which were to be set up under Chapter 5 of the Revitalized Agreement of the Cessation of Conflict in South Sudan, RJMEC, the 2018 peace deal that halted war. On Friday, the Revitalized Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Committee, RJMEC, says the court, to be composed of local and foreign judges, is key in checking past accountability. According to the peace accord, South Sudan with the African Union is to set up a hybrid court for South Sudan to investigate and prosecute individuals suspected of committing crimes since the conflict began in December 2013. The country was mooted as part of efforts to reconcile a country that had been divided along ethnic lines by nearly 7 years of civil war. But its creation has been a controversial subject, with authorities in Juba led by President Salva Kiir arguing it could open up old wounds. Diaspora. U.S. Supreme Court to issue separate rulings on affirmative action in college admissions. The U.S. Supreme Court took a procedural step on July 22nd that will allow the court's first black woman to participate in a high-stakes challenge to affirmative action in college admissions. The court agreed in January to take up the issue by granting 2 cases, one involving Harvard, a private university, and the other from the University of North Carolina, a public institution. The 2 cases were consolidated, meaning they were to be argued and decided together. During her confirmation hearing, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said she would not take part in the consideration of the affirmative action issue because she was on a board that advised Harvard on policy matters. Participating in the case would present a potential conflict of interest, she said. But on a brief order on July 22nd, the court said the 2 cases are no longer consolidated. Because they are now separate, she can participate in the case from the University of North Carolina. The court said Justice Jackson took no part in the consideration of the July 22nd order. The court's January decision to take up the cases presented the most serious threats in decades to the use of affirmative action by the nation's public and private colleges and universities. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, follow, share, and like our video. It's the best way of supporting us. And remember, Africa is watching.